Welcome back to all the students in this lecture 2 of ecology. Last time we had just understood that what is soil and what are edaphic factors, and we also understood about the composition of soil. So now that you all are familiar with that part, today we are going to start with a new topic, which is origin and development of soil, right? So this origin and development of soil is actually the formation of soil, and this process is mainly divided into two stages. These stages are weathering and pedogenesis or soil development. So basically this process is divided into two stages, weathering and pedogenesis or soil development. So withering is the breakdown of rocks. The first and foremost requirement for soil formation is the breaking down of rocks. So whatever bigger rocks are present, that has to break down. These will break down into fine and smaller mineral particles, right? So this is withering. Then pedogenesis is modification of mineral matter. What is this mineral matter? This mineral matter is nothing but these mineral particles or mineral matter that we actually obtain by the process of withering. So after we have obtained these mineral particles, these then gets modified either by the interaction between biological, topographic and climatic effects. So this mineral matter, it interacts with biological, that is with living organisms. It interacts with topographic, that means topography means the physical appearance of an area. So it could be, the area could be mountainous, it could have valley, it could be a plain, it could be a dry area, right? So depending upon the physical area also there will be an interaction, and also the climate of that area will vary accordingly, and that mineral matter will also interact with the climate, and because of that various soil types will develop. Now this is just a very brief of what is withering and pedogenesis, but we are going to look into more detail of both of these stages, right? So first of all, let us understand that what is withering. Withering process, as the name itself suggests, we can see that it means wear away or change the appearance or texture of something by long exposure. So that means that something, for example the rock in our case, changes its appearance, its look or its texture by long exposure to any factor, right? So therefore the rock surface will wear away or it will change its appearance. So this is withering process. So what happens in withering? The bare rocks, they change its appearance. So these bare rocks, they actually get exposed to various types of processes or various types of withering that leads to disruption of their components. So because of various types of processes, this bare rock, right, will get disrupted, that is these will break down into smaller components. So these various types of processes that is mentioned here are mainly of three types. These are physical processes, chemical processes and biological processes. So we can also name these as physical withering, chemical withering and biological withering, right? So let us see what is physical withering. This is because of action of water, temperature, glaciers, gravity, etc., right? So on over the rock, all these factors, they act, and this leads to withering of the rock. All these factors are abiotic, these factors are physical factors, and therefore this is called physical withering or physical process, right? Then what is chemical process? Okay, before that, physical process, there is only merely physical breakdown of the rock, but there is no change in chemical composition. So there is no chemical reaction taking place. This is just because of physical activities, right? So in chemical process, there takes place changes in the chemical composition. Now the composition of rock itself changes, and this leads to withering. So this could be because of processes like hydration, hydrolysis, oxidation reduction, carbonation, chelation, etc. So all of these processes contribute to chemical withering, right? Uh, Now this chemical withering can happen due to the chemical composition of the rock, because rock itself is made up of many chemicals. This withering could also happen because of the chemicals present in the atmosphere. The atmosphere is also composed of certain chemicals. Likewise, it can also happen because of the chemicals produced by living organisms. Right. So this could be because of the chemical composition of rock, because of the chemical present in the atmosphere, and because of the chemical produced by living organisms. So all of this can lead to chemical withering. So then what is biological withering? As the name suggests, it is caused by organisms like fungi, bacteria, lichens, algae, etc. Right? Now again, we'll be taking all of these three kinds of withering one after the another. So first we will understand that what is physical withering, or what are physical processes. So physical withering can be divided into following types. These are wetting, drying, heating, cooling, third is freezing, fourth is glaciation, fifth is solution, and sixth is sand blast. Okay, so let us understand each of these physical withering one after the another. So first is wetting and drying. What happens in wetting and drying? That the minerals that are present in the rock, they sometimes get wet. They get wet because of maybe rain, because of maybe moisture. So when these minerals they get wet, right, so they become more softer. So after getting wet, this again become dry, and when something becomes dry after wetting, so it becomes more weak. So these minerals they become weak, and in the process they try to these minerals they wither from the rock. They just get scrap away from the rock. So that is the process of wetting and drying. Now let us understand what is heating and cooling. So this heating and cooling actually takes place in areas, dry areas like deserts, where there is totally dry rock, dry mountains, right? So in such areas heating cooling takes place. So what is heating cooling? It is the change in temperature that causes the rock to expand when there is prolonged exposure to harsh heat, and to contract when there is much cold. So in desert areas, most of the rocks during the day, they just get exposed to a very harsh heat, very high temperature, due to which the rocks they expand. So when there is higher temperature, the rock expand, and when there is lower temperature, that is during nights, the deserts are extremely cold. So during the nights, there is cold temperature, there is lower temperature, due to which the rocks contract. Now something when continuously expands and contracts, it loses its strength, and when the rock loses its strength, it becomes weak, right? So there is continuous temperature changes, like there is higher temperature due to which it is expanding, then there is lower temperature due to which it is contracting. So continuously there are changes, right, due to which the withering process takes place. The rocks gets disrupted, it becomes weak, and it just gets withered away, right. Then the third type is freezing. Freezing can also be called as thawing, right. So what happens in freezing is, freezing, we know that when the temperature is very low, we called it freezing. So when the temperature it drops very low enough, the water will freeze. Now this freezing is mainly because of water. For example, this happens mainly in areas where rock is constantly coming, or a wall is constantly coming in contact with water. So the water, they will try to just enter inside the, it will continuously collide with the wall, and it will try to seep inside, due to which there will be cracks formed. The water will try to get inside the cracks, right. So but when the temperature will drop, this water, it will just get freezed in the cracks, right. So these cracks, they just get filled with ice, right. So when this happens, this ice act as wedges. This is called ice wedging. Ice wedging is when ice inside a crack is, it tries to work as a wedge, it tries to cut something inside. So it tries to put pressure in the crack, due to which the crack expands, right. So when water freezes, water has a property of expanding. So during freezing, the water will expand, this will exert pressure in the cracks, and due to that pressure, the crack will expand even more, and this will lead to withering of some of the particles of the rock, right. So this is called freezing, thawing. Now we understand what is glaciation. Glaciation, as we know, is the formation of glaciers. So glaciation are of mainly two types. This is called plucking and abrasion, right. So plucking is, see what happens is that when glaciers are formed, they just get attached to the rocks, right. Rocks and whatever sediments are also present, they just get attached to the ice, right. So these glaciers, when they melt, what they do, they also pick up the sediments that are present below the glaciers, those are also carried away with glaciers. So this is called plucking. That is, the glacier, when they move, they also pluck the sediments that are present below it, and hence it is called plucking. So this is plucking of sediments by a glacier. So this leads to physical withering, because the sediments, they just gets plucked. Similarly, then what is abrasion? Abrasion is when glaciers, they scrap underlying rock, right. So when these glaciers, they move, what do? They scrap the surface that is below the glaciers. So if you know, you can just imagine a sandpaper. We know what is a sandpaper. Sandpaper is used to smooth a surface. So what a sandpaper does is, it scraps a surface to make it smooth. So the same thing will happen here in case of abrasion, where the glaciers, while moving, they will scrap the underlying surface, and this will lead to abrasion, that is scrapping. Abrasion is just nothing but it means scrapping, right? So this particular glacier, when it will move, it will scrap the surface that is beneath it, and because of that withering will take place, right? So then we understand that what is solution. So solution is when in rock there are certain mobile components present. Mobile components means components that can flow easily, that can melt easily, that can dissolve easily, right? So these are the mobile components of rocks. For example, calcium chloride and sulfates, they can easily dissolve, right? So what happens that when there is some kind of acid rain or when there is heavy rain, so in rocks these materials, that is the calcium chloride and sulfates, they will become mobile because of water. They will just get washed away with the water, or they might get washed away by acid water, and this will again lead to withering. So by washing, what is happening, the mobile components of the rock, these minerals, that is calcium chlorides or sulfates, they just get washed away, and this will ultimately lead to the formation of to the breakdown of mineral components, right? So then we come to our last type of physical withering, which is sandblast. In sandblast, what happens that rocks gets disrupted by physical action of wind, sand, etc. So what is sandblast? It is just like abrasion, but here what is happening, that because of wind, say for example there is very stormy wind coming, and because of that wind, what will happen, a rock, imagine that a rock falls from a very high height. So if it falls and it collides with several other rocks, and that is why it breaks into many small particles. So this is called abrasion, that is, it is colliding, it is getting scrapped because of collisions, and this is leading to disruption of a whole rock, right? So this is called sandblast. This can happen by wind, it can happen by sand, it can also happen by gravity. Because of gravity, sometimes the rock, they may fall down, right? So this is called sandblast. And here just one thing, in solution, this has been observed much in many statues that are present. Most of the statues, they get withered away because of this kind of withering, that is solution, because rainwater, it seeps inside, and the chemical constituent that are mobile, they get dissolved, and they just get washed away. So you may have seen such kind of statues in many places, right? So this is about physical withering. Now we move towards the understanding of what is chemical withering. Okay, so chemical withering is again, what will happen in chemical withering? Changes occurs in the molecular structure of rocks and soil. So as the name suggests, changes will occur in the molecular structure, that is chemicals present in the rocks and soil. So this chemical withering is again divided into following types. These are hydration, hydrolysis, oxidation, carbonation, and chelation, right? So we'll try to understand each of these one after the another. So hydration in simple terms is intake of water, right? So what happens, that chemical bonds of the mineral are changed as it interacts with the water. Now hydration, you can just take example of cement, right? What happens, that when cement combines with water, it gets hydrated, it absorbs water, due to which its composition changes, right? So the cement which was dry, when it absorbs water, it gets converted into kind of semi-fluid type of material, right? So that is hydration, right? So it is intake of water. So here the chemical bond of the mineral, they get changed as interaction takes place between water. So cement, when interacts with water, its chemical bond changes, right? Some example of hydration is the conversion of mineral hydride into gypsum, right? So mineral hydride, this mineral is basically what we know as calcium sulfate. This mineral occurs in abundant form in the basins of the rock, in the sediments, right? It is present abundantly in rock. So this mineral, when it will interact with water, right, this will get converted into gypsum. Now gypsum is what? Gypsum is much softer than anhydrite. So gypsum is softer and it is a sulfate material. And if you don't know, then for your information, gypsum is the same material that is used for the making of cement and plaster of Paris, right? So what is happening, that the mineral anhydride, that is calcium sulfate present in the rock, it interacts with water, and due to that gypsum is formed. Gypsum is softer material because there is anhydride interacted with water. So gypsum is used in mainly cement and plaster of Paris preparation, right? So this is about hydration. One more example is of conversion of hematite to limonite. So what is hematite? Hematite is nothing but Fe2O3. We also call it iron oxide, right? So this hematite is reddish black mineral and it is an important ore of iron. It is called iron oxide. So when this hematite, it will interact with water, it will get converted into limonite. So what is limonite? Limonite is an hydrated form of hematite, because hematite, it absorbed water, so it became limonite. It is hydrated form, that means it is much softer. These are produced in preparation of various kinds of hues of irons. Hues meaning various kind of colors of iron. This is available in market in various colors. So it is used to prepare various colors of iron, right? So this is hydration. I hope hydration is clear. Now we move towards hydrolysis. So what is hydrolysis? It is the use of water for breakdown. Now hydrolysis is different than hydration in such a way that hydrolysis happens when a particular compound, it combines with water and that compound gets broken down into other compounds. So this is hydrolysis. As the name suggests, it is the splitting of water, right? So this is hydrolysis. What happens here is, because a compound will combine with water, it will get converted into a new solution. That new solution could be a mixture of two or more substances, right? An example of hydrolysis that we can provide is sodium minerals that are present in rock gets converted to salt water solution. How? We know that oceans are usually salty. So what happens is, sodium is already present in rock. These ocean waters, they continuously collide with rock. So all the sodium, it gets leached in the ocean, right? So ocean water have now sodium, and some chlorine molecules or ions are also present in the ocean, due to which when these sodium minerals, they combine with water, right? So they form salt water, that is NaCl. So sodium is Na, it will combine with water and the chlorine, the reaction will take place, and this will lead to the formation of salt water, that is NaCl water that we know in oceans it is always salty, right? So this is one kind of chemical withering where the sodium in the rock gets converted into salt water solution, right? Another example is of conversion of orthoclase into kaolinite. So orthoclase, it when combines with water, it is the most abundant rock forming mineral of earth's crust. So in earth it is the abundant mineral that is present in the rock, right? So orthoclase, if you know, is also used in the preparation of granite, right? So orthoclase, when it combines with water, what it will form? It will form two molecules. These are called kaolinite, and the second molecule is called cersite. But cersite we have not mentioned because we are right now more concerned with kaolinite. So orthoclase will combine with water and form kaolinite and cersite, but we are focusing on kaolinite. Kaolinite is a clay mineral, right? So it is a clay mineral, so its texture is softer. This is also called china clay, from which most of the porcelain things are made, right? And kaolinite is named on the name of Kaolin Hill, from where this kaolinite has been extracted for very very long years. This Kaolin Hill is present in China, right? So this is about hydrolysis. Now we understand what is oxidation. Oxidation takes place in rocks where there is iron present. Why? Because oxidation is a process which happens in presence of oxygen. When iron combines with oxygen, it forms rust, right? This is a very basic knowledge, that when iron it combines with rust, it forms iron when combines with oxygen, it forms rust. So oxidation will take place in rock which has iron content. So what will happen, that these rocks that have iron, right, they will get converted to rusty rocks with the reaction of oxygen. Rock will combine with oxygen, by chemical reaction with oxygen will form rusts, and these rusts will lead to withering of rock. This is because of this process is called oxidation, that is the conversion of rock in presence of oxygen into rust is called oxidation. And due to rust formation, we know when a metal gets iron gets converted to rust, it gets it becomes breakable easily, right? So this rock, when there will be formation of rust, it will break easily, it will become weakened, so that rock will actually expand and it will weaken, right? So this is about oxidation, where rock gets converted to rust, and this leads to weakening of the rock, and this leads to withering. So this is about oxidation. Now we understand what is carbonation. Carbonation means in the atmosphere there is carbon dioxide present. In the air there is carbon dioxide present, or in soil also there is carbon dioxide present. So this carbon dioxide, it combines with water. So this carbon dioxide, it makes a chemical reaction with water. So this leads to formation of carbonic acid. When CO2 it combines with water, it will form carbonic acid. So from where is this water coming? This water can come either from rainfall or maybe from some waterfall, right? So when rain will fall, what will happen, that rain will react with carbon dioxide and it will lead to the formation of carbonic acid. Now this carbonic acid is very efficiently capable of dissolving many minerals like limestone. So this carbonic acid will dissolve limestone that is present in rock, and due to dissolution of limestone in the rock, wherever the limestone has dissolved, huge cracks will be formed, or there will be hollow out vast networks of caves. So we know that there are caves in many places in India and in also other countries. So this cave formation is mainly because of the this kind of weathering, which is carbonation. So where the carbon dioxide has reacted with water to form carbonic acid, this carbonic acid dissolves the limestone in the rock, and this dissolution leads to the formation of very huge cracks, which leads to the formation of caves, right? So this is about chemical weathering. And the last is chelation. I'm not explaining chelation here. I have like a separate slide for you to make you understand what is chelation. Chelation is first of all, let us understand that what is a chelating agent. So any molecule that when can remove metals from somewhere by binding to it. So any metal that can actually bind with metal and then remove that metal from that particular area is called chelating agent. So then what is chelation? It is the bonding of these molecules to the metal. So that molecule which can bind to metal is called chelating agent and remove it, and that molecule when binds to the metal ion, that process is called chelation. So how this happens is by microorganisms. What happens is that these microorganisms, they release some chemical compounds or chemical exudates. So these chemical exudates, for example, could be acids. So these microorganisms, they release acids, which are the chemical components of chemical compound of the microorganism itself. So these chemical compound, what it does, it dissolve mineral components from rock. So these acids, they are capable of dissolving these mineral components from the rock. Now these mineral components, for example, in some rocks could be metals, right? So these acids, what they are doing, they are dissolving the metals, right? So when this metal is dissolved with organic compound of microbial activity, it is called chelation. That is, the metal, that is the mineral component, with the organic compound, that is the acids of the microbial activity, when they are present together, this process is called chelation. So here, what is a chelating agent? The chemical exudate of the microorganism, which is acid. What this acid, that is the chelating agent, is doing? It is dissolving the mineral component, which is metal. And this is called chelate. What is chelate? It is the combination of metal plus the organic compound. When these two are present together, this is known as chelates. Right? I hope this is clear with you. Right? So now we move towards understanding of what is biological withering. So biological withering is withering caused by living organisms. As the name suggests, it is the withering caused by living organisms. So what happens when seeds, propagules or spores they reach the surface of rock? I think you must all of you must have seen this already. From crack sometimes plant they start growing, right? So how do this happen? When seeds or spores or propagules they reach the rock, they start growing in the crevices of the rock. So as they start growing in the crevices of the rock, it also the overall development of the plant takes place, and this leads to the growth of the root, and these roots they ultimately exert pressure over the rock. So due to that pressure, crack gets created, and this cracks makes the rock weak, right? This weakness leads to withering of the rock. So we have often seen these kind of things many times, where if from the crack a new plant comes out, and this can sometimes grow into a very large tree, exerting pressure over the rock, and this can lead to the breaking of the rock, leading to withering. So this is biological withering by plants. Now let us understand that how can microorganisms cause this biological withering. These microorganisms are fungi, bacteria, lichen, algae, etc. What they do, they release chemicals. They have chemicals. These chemicals they break the rock surface. Now these chemicals are strong enough to break the rock surface. This leads to biological withering by microorganisms. So many times we have seen over wall or stone surfaces this kind of lichen and algae interaction. So what are these organisms doing? Eventually they are doing biological withering of that surface, right? So then a last thing that we can include in biological withering is human beings. Human beings can also indirectly they can contribute to withering. How do they contribute indirectly? Maybe by walking or planting or road constructions, right? By walking, what are we doing? We are crushing the surface of the soil. Sometimes we may walk over rock surfaces or over gravel surfaces, right? So by that we are actually crushing the soil, and this leads to again withering. Similarly, while planting activities or while road construction activities, there are many kind of abrasions, many kind of scrapping that is happening, that also leads to withering. So human beings also contribute to biological withering, maybe not directly but indirectly, right? So this is it about withering. Now the second stage, if you remember, was pedogenesis or soil development, right? So this word, that is pedogenesis, is obtained from two Greek words. This is pedon, which means soil, and earth, which means genesis. Pedon, which means soil and earth or earth, and genesis is the second Greek word, which means birth, right? So pedogenesis, apart from soil development, is also called soil evolution, soil formation, or soil genesis, right? So basically this is the science and study of processes that leads to the formation of soil. So a science that from which we understand that how the soil formation takes place is called pedogenesis. Now we know up to what we understood in withering. Withering is a process from which rock breaks into smaller particles, but these smaller particles that are formed are actually not the true soil. This is not the soil over which a particular plant can grow. So plants cannot grow over this soil, because though the particles have broken down, it is not proper for the plant to grow, right? So this broken particle that we got are called withered material, and this withered material will now undergo some more changes. These changes are really complex changes, and this is a complex process which is called pedogenesis, right? So in withering, we saw that the factors were mainly physical and chemical. Yes, some factors were biological also, but physical and chemical withering were two main factors, right? But in pedogenesis or soil development, we will see that the factors are mainly biological. So the phenomenon is mainly biological, that is, more microorganisms are playing role in the process of pedogenesis, right? So from the withering process, what we obtained is minerals. We got mineralization, right? By withering we received mineralization. So this mineralization will now be acted upon by microorganisms. All the microorganisms that are present, like lichens, bacteria, algae, fungi, all of this will act upon this mineral, and what they will do, they will secrete organic acids, they will produce more of carbon dioxide, right? By respiration they will produce carbon dioxide, and they will perform all of their activities, leading to adding up of organic matter after their death. So they will add up organic matter, all of their dead bodies, the remains, they will get buried in the soil. So all kind of processes will take place, that is geochemical are processes that that are concerned with the chemical composition of the soil or rock. Biochemical are processes, that is because of the chemical processes in living organisms. And biophysical processes, these are processes like withering, right? All the physical processes by the action of organisms. So all of these processes will happen, and this will lead to the withered rock getting converted to a true soil, right? So the crust of withered rock will ultimately, because of the action of these microorganisms, by adding up of organic matter, will get converted to true soil. Now this true soil will have variety of organic compounds and will have a rich biota of microorganisms. It will have a rich microorganism population. So like this, things will keep on adding, and gradually it will have different soil layers. And a fully developed soil, when a soil will be fully developed, it will have various horizons, and which we term as soil profile, right? So what we saw in this process, that after mineralization, by the action of microorganisms, what is forming? It is the formation of humus, right? Humus is the organic matter, organic soil that we require for the plant to grow, right? So by the action of all these microorganisms, their dead remains, all the processes, ultimately what is happening? It is the formation of humus. Humus is the part of soil, as if you remember in last lecture we had just understood what is humus. It is nothing but the soil that is rich in organic compounds and microorganisms. So now humus is the part over which a plant can grow properly. So we are what we are seeing here is from minerals. It is the formation of humus that is taking place during pedogenesis. Now this is a fully developed soil, and from that developed soil there will be horizons visible. This is called soil profile, and this would be our topic of the next lecture, right? So we will be seeing what is soil profile in more detail, right? So till then, this is the end of the lecture. So this process of soil formation is actually a very slow process, and it will take like many years, 100 to here it's a mistake, it is 100 to 1000 years to develop. So it takes a long time to develop, and yes, but it will develop, changes will take place, all kind of withering will happen, pedogenesis will happen, the soil will develop, and it will develop over time. That is, it will take its own time, right? So this is a slow process, it takes time, but it happens. So with this we come to the end of our lecture. So I'll be back with the continuation of this topic. If you have like this was a difficult topic, and if you have any doubt, you can just reach out to me. I'll help you out, right? So that's it for now, and it's a humble request that if you have yet not subscribed to my channel Fawnful Life, please subscribe to my channel by hitting the subscribe button, and hit the bell icon to stay updated with all the new videos, right? And if in any case you have any suggestions, you want some new videos, lecture videos to be made, you can just let me know by commenting in the comment box. I'll be happy to make it for you, right? Okay, so thank you.